Karoline Leavitt was in the middle of what seemed like a routine live interview. The former congressional candidate and prominent conservative voice was tackling the usual range of topics: the economy, border policy, and cultural issues that have become rallying points for her base. But then, in a surprising pivot, she mentioned the newly elected Pope, Pope Robert Prevost. The mention of the Pope's name shifted the energy in the studio. The host blinked, perhaps unsure whether to follow her into this unexpected territory. For a moment the air was filled with quiet tension, the kind that comes when someone veers off script. But Karoline Leavitt didn't falter. "We're witnessing something unprecedented," she said. "Pope Robert Prevost isn't just another figurehead. He's already shaking the foundations of long-standing traditions in the Vatican." The host leaned forward. "What do you mean by that?" Karoline glanced down for a second before locking eyes with the camera. "I mean, he's saying things no modern pope has said, at least not in public, and we're just starting to feel the ripple effects of that." It wasn't the kind of comment that people expected during a discussion about American domestic policy, yet within minutes social media lit up. Clips of the interview circulated like wildfire, especially the part where she hinted that the new pope's words were causing sleepless nights for powerful people in Europe and even Washington. Pope Robert Prevost had only recently been elected to the papacy after a turbulent conclave that took longer than expected. His election wasn't without controversy. A cardinal from the US with a history of engagement in Latin American pastoral missions, he was known for his unorthodox approach to power and hierarchy. While deeply rooted in Catholic doctrine, he had earned a reputation as a reformer, a man not afraid to call out corruption or elitism within the church itself. Karoline Leavitt, who rarely commented on religious leaders, wasn't bringing him up for spiritual reasons. It quickly became clear she believed Pope Prevost had touched on themes that crossed political lines, issues that resonated with populist movements across the globe. "The Pope recently made a comment during a closed-door meeting that leaked," Karoline said in the follow-up. "He talked about the concentration of global wealth and influence, calling it a moral betrayal of the people. That's not just Catholic dogma. That's a warning." The leaked comment had reportedly come during a gathering with a group of senior bishops. Pope Prevost had allegedly said that too many political and religious elites had aligned themselves with economic systems that treat human dignity as a commodity. He urged a new kind of accountability, not just within the church but globally. But it wasn't just what he said, it was who he said it to. According to sources close to the Vatican, those present included individuals who held influence not only in religious matters, but also in political and financial circles. His comments had not been meant for public consumption, but someone in the room clearly disagreed. The leak made its way to international media within days. Karoline Leavitt, ever attuned to populist sentiment, saw it as more than a moment of ecclesiastical reflection. "Ask yourself why those comments weren't meant to be public," she said. "Because they hit a nerve, the same nerve that's been exposed by whistleblowers, citizen journalists, and freedom fighters around the world." The host tried to redirect the conversation back to Washington politics, but the moment had already happened. Karoline's words had sparked curiosity and alarm. Her team later clarified that she wasn't endorsing any political alignment with the Vatican, but rather highlighting how global institutions, both secular and spiritual, were waking up to the same underlying issues: elite overreach, lack of transparency, and moral decay in leadership. In the days that followed, attention shifted to Pope Prevost himself. The Vatican issued a cautious statement acknowledging the leaked comments, but refused to deny them outright. A spokesperson said, "The Pope had always spoken truthfully and compassionately about the economic disparities in the world, and would continue to do so." Still, the tone of the response was notable. There was no backtracking, no attempt to dilute the message. Journalists began digging into Pope Prevost's past. Born in Chicago and ordained as an Augustinian priest, he had spent years working in Peru, often in regions plagued by poverty and corruption. There he developed a deep sense of justice shaped by power structures, both religious and governmental, online forums, TikTok commentary and YouTube reactions flooded in, many wondering whether this convergence of voices was the beginning of something new. Was this a turning point in global consciousness?